Hi guys, welcome back to the Dev Labs. In this video, I'll walk you through how to write your controller for our Node.js authentication system. Now, what does controller help us do? The controller is responsible for handling requests. It helps us to process the data and interact with our database. So let's dive into that. So for us to begin writing our controller, we have to create a new folder. We're going to call our folder controller. So everything that's going to be in this folder is just going to be about controller like that. So after that, you create a new file. Controller.js. So that is loading. So while that is loading, we can start installing our various dependencies. Okay, it's done. So let's install it first. So the new dependencies we are going to be using today are Bcrypt and JWT. So this is how we install it. Okay, so while that's installing, we can start writing our code. So first, we import the necessary modules at the top of the file, which is the beginning. So we're calling in our Express module. Next, we're going to be calling our model. We're going to put in a curly bracket. So this is it. Dot slash, because we're going to be calling it first from the folder, then you put your slash to call your file. So this is it. Yes. So after that, we're going to be importing our bcrypt. So what bcrypt actually does is just to is used for hashing and verifying our passwords. Like I said in the other class, when we wrote the code for model for our password, I said that we're going to be hashing our password. So this is what bcrypt is for, is just for hashing the passwords. So you're going to call it here. So that is already done installing. So next we are going to be importing is our JWT. So JSON web token. Yeah, so what JSON what JWT does is used for generating and verifying the JWT tokens. So while we are doing our email, we're going to be like getting our token. We're going to be doing our we're going to be getting token. So that's just what JWT does. So after that, next thing we're going to be doing is creating our user. So let's start. So this the create user function is used for like handling user registration by hashing the password, creating a new user and generating JWT tokens. So let's dive in immediately. So I'm going to be calling it create user your sync function, your curly brackets, then your try and catch error. So in our try, we're going to be calling our schemas that we used in the model. So username is there, your password, and your email. So these are just the three main things that we are going to be using. So after that, we're going to be calling salt dot gen salt. So this just means that it's going to be generating the salt 10 times. Cost hashed password. So type 9 has already given us everything that we already need safe. So what this just means is that we are going to be hashing the password using Bcrypt. So let's just so everything is just big this particular line, that's just what Bcrypt means, that's just what everything means. So next we are going to be calling is our token JWT dot sign, then your username. So you're just going to be then you need to just include password, and your comma. So for this our token, we're going to be calling it our secret key. So we're going to be writing expiration. It just means that it's going to expire in 1 day. So that's the next thing we're going to do. 1 day and your semicolon. Next, we're going to be calling our user. We're going to be giving this user. Wait. So our registration model, do dot create. So I'm just going to be closing this a little bit so I can see my code fully. So everything is just going to be hashed password. So that's just it. So time to write our return, our status code 200. So status code 200 means successful. We have 200, 300, 400, and 500. 200 means successful. Then your message. Registered user successful. So your data. So you notice that I'm not like explaining that much. So let me just finish writing for this create user, then I'll talk about it. So we've just finished writing our try. So let me just go straight to the catch. Then you console log. Yeah, so in your console log, or let's just put error, console log error, because it's basically about error. There's no much difference between console log and console error. What console error just means is console logging an error. So you just need to write what you're going to process as the error. So uh, uh, sorry for the delay. Then your return res dot status your 400, or you can choose to just write 500, which is coming from the server error dot json. I just noticed that there are some errors. So why is there an error here? So the comma. Okay, the await. There's no a. Okay, yeah. So that's why this wasn't glowing. But you notice when there was no a, it wasn't glowing. So immediately I just put the a. Watch this. It immediately glowed, which means we just called it. Yeah. So your message is going to be just about error. So an error. Yes, an error occurred while registering user. Yeah. So okay. So now, like I said earlier, this is just to extract the user data, the user details from the request. This is what we use in the model. And this bcrypt is just used for hashing the passwords for security purposes. Then the jwt, this jwt is just used to generate jwt tokens that we're going to be using for authentication. Then saves the user to the database. After that, it returns the new user data and token. Yeah, so that's just what the following code means. So the next thing we're going to be doing now is creating our sign in user. So so to be a little faster, I'm just going to write this code once without saying anything. Then when I'm done, I'll explain to you guys what happened here. So let me just write it to be a little faster. Then I'll explain it line by line, I promise. Then you'll try and catch error. The reason we did not call our username here because this is just for signing. And basically what we need for our signing is just email and password. Like the way you want to sign into your account for anything, that's why you just use your email and password. So your body registration model dot find one. So your email. So because we're just going to be using one email for our account. So we can't just be using two like that. I'm just going to be using that specific one. So now we're going to be using if. So if it is not our user, that's what the exclamation mark does. So the user, if it is not our user, return your status code. Yes, 404. 404, which basically means error. Dot JSON message. This user registered. So that's just what this will just means is our user if it is not our user, return this message. This user is not registered. So that's just what it means. So after that, we're going to be needing to check password. So that we're just going to call it check password. Then your await. So we're going to be calling our bcrypt for hashing password. Yes, compare. Yes, so I'm just going to be comparing our password. Then our user's password. So it seems that there's a problem. So I'm going to come back to this. Let me just comment on this first. So if check password, then return also a message incorrect password. But if it is our password, then just the same thing except so just really faster. Let me just copy this and paste over here. And if you're doing that, you must remember to change your status code to 200, which means successful. So then your message will become signed in successfully. A data user. So now we're done with our try time try. So call your error. Let's write error here. going to become 500. Just come here, right? Error. So I'm done with writing our sign in user. So now let me just explain what this all means. So now this, it just means that we are going to be searching for a user by email. Now if the user is found, it compares the entered password with the hashed password. That's just what I was trying to do over here, but seems to be a problem. So let me try that again. Okay. I really don't know why it's not what it's supposed to be showing now. Okay, anyways, so we're done with our signing user. Next, we're going to write in is verifying user. Okay, so this controller is very easy actually. You just be creating the endpoint that you need. It's just the same lines of code, just have to be changing some few things, the major things that you need to learn. So we're going to be requiring our header. If you notice, we've just been writing require dot body, but now we're just going to be using our header for this verifying password. Exactly. This is what we need, but this is not. I'm just going to be changing a few things. So if it is not token, if it is not a return, where's the status code 403. Uh, access denied. Okay, exactly. Come. our JWT. So we're going to be calling our security key that we use in our create user. Yes. So if it is not decoded, return yes. Access denied. Invalid token. Perfect. Now I'll return exactly. So I'm just using this tab 9 to be very fast and it's giving me exactly what I need. So it's just calling our status code successfully. So it's just going to be user verified successfully. That's why it's called verifying user. So next we're going to be calling our console error as usual error. Then so what this just does is to help extract the token from the request header. That's why we named it authorization. So now if it is not token, that is when it will become access denied. So that's why like if we're putting in our token and if it does not work, that is when this message will now appear. Access denied, no token available. Exactly. So then it decodes and verifies the token. So it's just trying to check whether the token is actually the token. So if it is not, then it will become access denied invalid token. So that's it's just trying to like check whether the token is actually the real token. Then if successful, it confirms that the user is authenticated. That's when this comes in. User verified successfully. So that's for our verify user. Next endpoint we're going to be writing is retrieve all users. So we're just going to call it find all users. While the next one we're going to write is find one user. So there's not just it's just going to be actually the same code but a little few adjustments. So find all users. Yes, so your async. I don't know, I'm always missing the S. Your request. Then you're trying to catch error. So there's a problem with this laptop. It's affecting my code. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. Users, because it's not going to be one, it's just going to be users. So that's how I'm adding an S to it. Then you await registration model dot find. I'm going to be using the array find. So these are just arrays. Then your brackets, comma. Exactly. So our status code 200 message is going to be all users retrieved successfully. So if this works, that's when this will give you the all users retrieved successfully. So this is actually, yeah. So the next thing we're going to be calling is our error. Then your message. You can choose to use this, but I'll just say error, error retrieving users. Yes, so that's just for. So now let me fully explain this. So what this just does is it uses dot find to retrieve all the users, like I said earlier. Then it returns a response with all user data. So this just means that all the users are retrieved successfully. So next thing we're going to be looking for is to find just one user. So I'm just going to be calling this one find one user. Your async, then your request and response, your function arrow function, sorry. Then you try and catch error. I'm going to be calling user ID. I'm going to be using request dot parameters. Um, await. Then your registration model found by ID. Exactly. So what this just means is from our model, we're going to be using the ID to find our user identity. So we're just going to be calling it. So then if it is not the user we're looking for, if it is not the user, it will return user not found. User not found. Exactly. But if it does, user retrieved successful. Then your return your JSON. Oh, ah, this is really giving me problems. What to do? What to do? Ah, I'm sorry, guys. This is just a minor issue. Then your message. Exactly. While retrieving the user. Then error. So that's all for defined on user. So what this just does is it's just extracting the user ID from the parameters, from the request parameters. Then it uses does find ID to fetch the user. That's what this one is for. Then if found, it will return the user details. That's what it does here. So the next thing we're going to be doing is, I'm sorry guys, sorry for the problem that was going on here. So the next thing we're going to be doing is to update the user. Exactly. I don't have time to start clearing all this. Yeah. Please, if you guys have any solution to this, please drop it in the comments below. It's just popping N. I don't get. Yes. You're trying to catch error. Ah, it's not allowing to pop up. Yes. Oh my. Ah, my days. Please stop. I'm really sorry. This is really. Ah. So God, this is getting worse. Your request parameters. Next, our username. So our username is next. Our request body. Exactly. Oh, let me try fixing this. Find by ID and update. Since we are updating the user, but if we to delete, that's when we would use find by ID and delete. Curly brackets. Then you call your user ID. You also call your username. Then new. Oh, okay, so that was the issue. I was supposed to use the normal brackets. So next we're going to be returning 200.json. A message updated Come on. Then your return raise the status code message. So I'm going to the message is going to be an error occurred while updating user. Yes. You write error then your message. So let me plug that in. Okay guys. So let me just plug that in so we don't turn off. So I'll be right back. I just need 2 minutes. Okay, so that is all for the update user. So now what this line just does is to extract the user ID from the URL. That's why we're using require request parameters. Then it updates the username field. After that, it returns the updated user. That's what it does here. So the next thing we're going to be doing is deleting the user. So I'm seeing an error. So why is that? Oh, so let's dive into deleting the user. So um, we're going to name it delete user. So I'll try and catch error. So then your request. We're extracting the user ID from parameters. Sorry. Yeah, wait. But find by ID and delete. You notice here we use find by ID and updates. Why here we're using find one. Oh, it's not find one. It's find by ID. That's a mistake on my part. Find by ID. Yes, find by ID and delete. Yes. Then your brackets, your user ID. Yes, so oh, why there's an error is because I didn't write the async. Yes, so after that we're going to be returning our status code, and respond status code. Then data. So that's why I'll catch error. Um, status 500. Then your message and error. Oh, your code. An error occurred while deleting user. Why the error is that message. Okay, so that's all for the delete user. So what this does is extracting the user ID from the request parameters, then it deletes the user from the database, then it returns a success message. Okay, so after this we are going to be exporting every single thing that we just wrote. So your module dot export. So we're going to be calling every single thing that we wrote, starting from create user. After that, you're signing users. So let me just copy all of them once. Okay, so that's all for our controller. So where's oh yes, okay, so that's why it wasn't going. Okay, now that's how we set up the controller in our Node.js authentication system. Whee! So what all this does, it just manages user creation, authentication, verification and CRUD operations. So in the next video, we'll move on to the router. Yes, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more tutorials. Thank you.